just like that little sweep, just letting it there. Sort of air of anticipation. No, it's not that epic, folks. It's just Blue Please here on WoW Radio, your standard WoW player, talking into a microphone for 2 hours. Well, people seem to like it, and quite frankly, thank you for supporting the show. 300 listeners. We broke the barrier, folks. The barrier that people said we would never break. WoW Radio is on the way up, and it's all thanks to you. And as a thank you, the competition is available. If I haven't plugged it enough, I'm going to plug it again. We're getting in more and more and more entries. So get to it, folks. There are 2 parts of the competition. And it's for the Free the Piggy campaign. That poor pig over in Camp Tarajo that Tech Lead claims will be barbecued soon. Well, I said to Tech Lead, you will be the first against it all when the revolution comes. Bad Tech Lead. Our European community manager, quite frankly, sick and evil. Ugh. Anyway, the competition is split into 2 parts. You may either enter a picture related to the Free the Piggy campaign, a banner, an image, a piece of fan art, that kind of thing. It will not be judged on how well you can draw, how good your Photoshop skills are. It will just be judged on how cool it is. It's that simple. The elusive cool factor, folks. The other part of the competition, you can enter a piece of lore, an ode to the piggy. A story, a limerick, a poem, some prose, even a sonnet. And yes, we have had 1 sonnet in so far, folks. So if you want to compete with a sonnet, I would suggest you email your entry to themurloc@gmail.com. The winners will be announced on tomorrow's Downtime Down Under, and the winners will, of course, be notified and posted on the front page with links to their marvellous work. Free the Piggy, that's our current campaign. No matter what Tech Lead might have to say. Anyway, people keep asking me about Hero Class. I don't know why they ask me. I'm just your normal WoW player with a microphone. But if you ever listened to Blue Please before, when Blue Please was in its infancy, Hero Classes came up quite a lot. And as the months have gone on, Hero Classes have kind of faded from the eye, been put on the back burner. But recently there's been a lot of people concerned about the level cap. And inevitably, because of the level cap, people have come back to the concept of Hero Classes. Hero Classes, folks. What is a Hero Class? Is it just going to be level 70? Is it going to be a variation on current classes? Are you going to be able to specialise in a particular field? Will a Hero Class be more powerful than a normal class, or simply different? We just don't know. It's all speculation at this point, until we hear anything from Blizzard. But speculation is good, and that's what Blue Please is all about. Speculation is good. So, let me first address the idea of raising the level cap. Let me say an unbridled, pure no. Bad call. Raising the level cap is for noobs. It's for noob companies that create noob games and want an easy way of adding longevity to their games. They raise the level cap. Sure, that'll keep people playing until they can hit that level cap. It's a cheap way of putting content in this game. Blizzard does not subscribe to it. That is clear. They add meaningful content to this game. They do not increase the level cap. And I hope I will never see the level cap increase beyond 60. Ever. Because when you hit 60, the game changes. For some people, it changes for the better. But it changes. That is undeniable. And that's the cool thing about WoW. Anyone can get to level 60. And then the game starts getting interesting. But I'm still having fun as my level 53. I play on the European servers. There aren't as many level 60s over there. We've been going for less time. I haven't had the time to get myself to level 60, but I'm loving it. And the last thing I want to see is them raise that bloody level cap. I'm almost at 60. Give me a couple more weeks, I'll be at 60. I just need to build up my rested XP a little bit more. Hate leveling without rested XP. Anyway, back to the point. If they raise the level cap, what they're going to do is annoy 2 sets of people. The first set of people is the people that aren't 60 yet, and there are quite a few. That includes new players, casual players, and the lazy people, like me. The other area of players it's going to annoy are the content lovers. These people realise what it takes to make good content and know what they want from WoW, and what they do not want from WoW is a bunch of new quests and a level 70 cap. Because what does it achieve? Other than widening the current level gap. Absolutely nothing is what it achieves. Nothing. Bugger all. So don't do it. So the idea of the hero class, in that case, what could it be? Let's take the example of an RPG I love, and hopefully a lot of you have played. Knights of the Old Republic 2. Star Wars RPG. Better than Star Wars Galaxies, I'll tell you that for a fact. And in Knights of the Old Republic, you start as a Jedi. But at some point you get to pick a prestige class. Now, a prestige class is not OMG fantastically uber mega super class that beats the smeg out of everything. Far from it. What it is a way to specialise your character. Even more than it already is. So, you can do something crazy. You can start with the Guardian, which is a warrior-style character, and then pick a Sith Lord as your prestige character. What that allows is you to specialise your character in a particular direction. A Sith Lord is the more caster-orientated, the more Force user. So if you wish, you can have a warrior Force user, and you can balance out between the two. You can strike your multi-class. Or you can specialise even further. You can be a Jedi Weapons Master and a Jedi Guardian, which makes you the Uber Warrior. But sacrificing in other areas. You're not as good a Force user. Usually you'll be wearing heavy armour, you won't be able to cast all that good stuff. So it's lightsabers or death, basically. That's the way of doing it. It's specialisation. It's not level 70. So, how can it be done? Questing is always a good way, because questing is not grinding. Let me get that out of the way now. When people say they're going to grind and then they go and do quests, I shake my head at them and say, you're not grinding, you're questing. Questing is different. Questing may require some grinding, but grinding in essence is just killing mobs for the sake of XP alone. XP and loot. Not for the sake of advancing a particular story. It's not for the sake of completing a particular goal. It's for getting XP and loot. Only reason. Questing is not grinding. Questing is the way to go, because you can create very long quest chains which require you to travel all over the world, do various things, collect various items, complete various objectives. And when we discussed hero classes in previous Blue Please shows, which you can of course download from wcradio.com, click the archives button at the top of the screen, we came to the conclusion that the way to go was hero talent points and hero talent pools. Not trees, pools. No progression, necessarily. It's not a tree. It's a big pool of various things you can do. And the idea is you can combine certain of hero talents together, and they will change your hero class. What defines your hero class is what you make of it. You will get a certain amount of hero points after doing some amazingly epic quest, and you can perhaps earn more as the game progresses. And you pick your talents. So, say you were a mage, and there's a big pool of talents you can pick from as a caster. I pick talents as related to fire, say. And I become Total Halibut, the level 60 Pyromancer. Or I pick more general talents, say mana boosting talents and spell damage talents. I become Total Halibut, the level 60 Conjurer, the level 60 Sorcerer, that kind of thing. And if you want to make hero classes really interesting, that is the way to go, because that does not necessarily make me uber powerful, it makes me different. And it gives me the chance to forge my particular playstyle into the game and say, this is how I want to play the game, and now I'm allowed to do it. Before, there's only a certain number of builds that are effective, say 2 or 3 per class maximum. You can play one of those 3, or just don't play effectively at all. Bring in hero classes. Let us forge our own playstyle into the game. And that is the way to go. And that is the Blue Please style of hero classing. I don't know what the rest of you think about that, but that's certainly the way I want to go. That's the way I'd like to see it. Okay. I think it may be time to introduce another one of our features for today. We have several features on the show. That's kind of what makes the show different. The show has regular features, and people tune in for these features. In fact, they buy the Blue Please album just to get records of these features, new remastered features. And one of our popular discussion features is this. Imbecile. 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 Imbecile of the week. Imbecile of the week, folks. We often talk about very stupid people here on Blue Please. We don't like stupid people. We like people who can engage their brain. So, Imbecile of the week is the attempt to highlight the biggest batch of stupidity in the community. And usually, it's not just your normal everyday stupidity. Your normal everyday stupidity gets on a rap in the forums, which will be on a little bit later on. And if you've never heard rap in the forums, you're on for a big shock. Imbecile of the week requires a special kind of imbecile, and I'm going to post it in the chat room right now. There we go. Special kind of imbecile. And basically this guy is arguing that World of Warcraft is not a true MMORPG. Normally I'd listen to this kind of thing. Perhaps it's constructive, perhaps it's got some points to make. And I read it, and my mind did boggle. Now let me set some background up for you. I'm an old core, if that's even a word, an old school RPG player. I played Telnet Muds, heavily in fact, as a kid. That's where MMORPGs originated from in the first place. They originated from this concept of lots of people playing a game which is not quite as good as a role-playing game, not quite as story-driven, but the elements are there because there's a large population doing it. So often there'd be PvP, that kind of thing. I used to play a game called Moon, multi-users in Middle-earth. Brilliant Tolkien mud, it's still around. If you get bored of WoW, go play that. Truly hardcore mud, that. And there were various things about it that were problems. Now, the problem I had with MUDs often was that they were too hard. As in, ridiculously hard. And when I talk about hard, I talk about losing your equipment. All of it. Gone. Totally destroyed. Because you moved into the wrong area. Moon had things called death traps in them. Yes? And if you fell down a death trap, you would lose all your equipment. Gone. Instantly. Often it punished people who didn't know the map inside out. Or people who fled, for instance. Because when you fled, you moved room. You had your north, south, east and west. And each area was basically a room, a zone. When you fled, you moved zones. You moved zone into a death trap, you died. You died, you lost all your equipment. And when you died to a mob death, you lost a level. And if you think leveling in WoW took a long time, oh god, you haven't heard the half of it. So, back to the point. This guy says that WoW is not a true MMORPG. And he says why. Why are all the field level dungeons just copies of each other? They aren't fun, get old fast, and they're too easy. Where did these dungeons come from? Are they just holes dug by the monsters? Big deal. Yeah, that's exactly what they are, mate. They are just holes dug by the monsters. Have you ever played an instance? That's the point! Ah! A dungeon is an instance. An instance is a dungeon. Sorry, but you won't find dungeons that look like each other. Instances. No. Those little caves are just that. They're caves. They're holes in the ground. That's the only purpose they serve. Occasionally there'll be a nice chest in there and a few quest objectives and maybe a couple of veins to mine. Yes. They're not dungeons. Raiding. And he says, I haven't raided yet. Well, oh yeah, good, great. You know, just set yourself up for flaming there. And I've read that you need some 40 people instance raiding. Yeah. You do. Just like every other big MMORPG. You think there's no raiding in EverQuest? You're an idiot! Of course there's raiding in EverQuest. There's raiding in a lot of MMORPGs. You know what makes an MMORPG MM? Massively multiplayer. Not multiplayer, massively multiplayer. Because it's got a lot of people in it. And you don't play it just to see 5,000 people poncing around doing nothing when you solo the whole game. No, you get involved in these people. You get in groups with these people and you go and take down something big. And that, in my opinion, is one of the biggest essences of MMORPGs. And if this guy thinks that raiding is not an essence of MMORPGs. He needs to be stabbed in the face over the internet. No more, no less. Now, gameplay is too easy. The game holds your hand most of the time. There's basically no danger in the game. This comes back to what I was saying before. He's saying that death is not punished. Guess what? This is an MMORPG. It is not based on skill. It's not based on individual player skill. There are situations where you will die, especially in PvP. You want me to be punished because some guy higher level than me ganked me when I didn't have a chance? Are you crazy, man? Are you absolutely that insane? Now, social interactivity says this should be a huge factor in any MMORPG. WoW's next to none. You just took the piss out of raiding and then said there was no social interactivity. You're an idiot! You're an imbecile! You are, in fact, the one and only Imbecile of the week. Indeed. You are the imbecile of the week. And you will perish. Okay, I think I've ran it on for quite long enough. We have one more feature left to go and a little bit of a roundup of the show. So I'm going to play 2 tracks for you. Yes, 2. Not just 1. 2. First track I'm going to play you. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to play you, in fact. You see, I hadn't got to this point. I was too busy ranting. Ranting's fun, kids. You should try it sometime. Very good for the soul, I say. Iron Maiden. A band I do love. The first metal band I really got into. This was requested earlier by Duranga. I'm going to play it for him because it's so good. This is Iron Maiden. This is Stranger in a Strange Land. This is Blue Please on WoW Radio. Enjoy.